Hey everyone, my name is Taps and welcome to the first ever This Week in Crypto. Basically, this is a segment that I wanted to do because, as you know, crypto moves fast and there is a lot of news always happening, and not everyone lives, breathes, sleeps, freebases crypto. And so I wanted to be able to share what is happening in the space that is most important this week on a week-to-week basis. Now, I currently shot this on Friday night on the 28th of May. However, I will be releasing it on Sunday because I will be out of the state for roughly about a week on vacation. Now, as I said, there is constantly always news daily with crypto, but I wanted to weed out what is going to be the most important for you to be aware of what is either upcoming and or what is already happening. So let's just hop right into it. First, the obvious news is Bitcoin is still down. Currently at this time of shooting at $36,372. Today was actually an important day for Bitcoin because we needed it to go above the 200-day moving average, and that was roughly around 42,000, I believe. I'm not a TA expert, but I do follow and watch a lot of the content by those who can do much better than I can, and we fell short. So this week has been roughly bearish for the space as a whole, for Bitcoin, for altcoins, and that doesn't mean a bear cycle. That just means that this week was a bearish one, as Bitcoin has dropped quite a lot this week. And we still could have further downside, but we'll see what happens over the next couple of days, which I believe are crucial to see if we're going to be going into a U-shaped recovery or a V-shaped recovery. However, we do actually have a pretty large event that is going to be happening next week that I haven't really seen many talk about, but it's a pretty important event. And that is the Bitcoin conference that is happening in Miami on June 4th and 5th. In this conference, we're going to actually have quite a lot of very big names. Ron Paul, who is a former Texas governor who is very outspoken in the space. Back in, I think, 2014-15, he was actually very not pro-Bitcoin, but flipped the switch roughly around, I think, 2019 or so, and has been very outspoken, very smart man. We have Senator Cynthia Lummis, who I actually had to look up, and Senator Cynthia Lummis, she's actually the newer senator from Wyoming, who is the first US senator to ever own Bitcoin, who has recently joined the Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee, which has areas of jurisdiction including, but not limited to, banking, insurance, financial markets, securities, housing, urban development, and mass transit, international trade, finance, and economic policy. So she's pro-Bitcoin, she has a lot to say, and again, she's sitting on a major banking committee. Next on the list is, if you don't know who Michael Saylor is, you should. Very outspoken Bitcoin maximalist. He's the CEO of MicroStrategy, a phenomenal company. They are the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin. Jack Dorsey made quite a splash into the world of crypto. He is the CEO of Twitter, who sold his first tweet as an NFT and was one of the earlier adopters of NFTs from a larger corporate figure. We have Tony Hawk, who, I mean, we all know who Tony Hawk is, right? Like, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 was the best Tony Hawk. We can all agree, right? But Tony Hawk, professional skateboarder, you can probably wonder, okay, why is he speaking here? I feel like Jack Dorsey and Tony Hawk are going to speak specifically around NFTs as a whole. Tony Hawk made news when he actually chose to work with, I think it was the 30 Chain, who created an NFT around his last Ollie 540, I believe it was. And then Nick Szabo, he is well known as being a pioneer for cryptocurrency as a whole. So back in 1998, Nick was actually the one who found BitGold. So way before Bitcoin, right? And he is actually responsible for laying a lot of the fundamentals that were actually created. He's very much an outspoken computer scientist and cryptographer, well known in the space because many actually thought he could be Satoshi Nakamoto. But of course, he has says that he is not. On the lineup, there is going to be a lot happening throughout these 2 days where there's going to be a lot of sponsorships from some pretty big names, Crypto.com, Binance, OKCoin, eToro, Nexos, NIM. I mean, I'm not going to read all Blockfolio. I'm not going to read all of them, but there are quite a lot of big names that are going to be sponsoring this thing. Bitmart. I mean, the list goes on and on. Huobi. You can see there is a ton of companies, Trezor, who are going to be directly linked with this event, Gate.io, Ledger, of course, Voyager, and then we actually look down at the attending media. Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg, Fox Business, Bitcoin Magazine, NBC News, Compass, New York Times. This is going to get a lot of media that I believe, based on the speakers, is going to be very pro Bitcoin and pro crypto space. Now, moving on to the actual piece of news that has happened this week. I can't believe this didn't get more attention today, but Google Cloud now provides blockchain insights for Polygon Network. An integration with Google BigQuery enables developers to analyze on-chain data on Polygon, formerly Matic, in a more simple way, according to an emailed announcement Friday. The BigQuery support Polygon datasets have now been listed in the Google Cloud Marketplace under the public financial services category. That seems like a pretty big deal to me, that they're actually going to be listing in the Google Cloud Marketplace. So congrats, Matic holders. I'm a Matic holder. I feel like this is going to get more announcement probably over the next couple days. So you might want to look into Matic as there keeps being more and more news, especially with Mark Cuban, who is behind the project as well. Next piece of news is Apple seeks to hire alternative payments manager with crypto experience. The Apple Wallet's payment and commerce WPC team is seeking an experienced business development manager to lead alternative payments partnerships, the job post reads. So Apple is an absolute giant, right? They are innovators for the technology that sits in our hand, for at least most of us by majority. So the fact that Apple is actively seeking someone with cryptocurrency experience, maybe we will see something like an Apple coin in the future. One can hope, but this is very bullish for the space. Next up, we have, for the long haul, when Bitcoin nosedived, institutions held fast. We saw a big plunge, right? Recently in the past week, where Bitcoin tanked and hasn't been able to go well over 40K back to where it was rested for a while, or to claim all-time highs. Now, looking at this piece, Owanda senior market analyst Edward Moya told Cointelegraph institutional investors mostly held firm. And after the dust settled, investors still seem confident with their longer term bets. Also, Chainalysis Philip Gradwell wrote in a May 19th market analysis, it also does not appear that institutions are significant sellers. So everything is speculation until proven, right? But we have seen quite a lot of proven analysis out there that most of the large whale wallets haven't sold. And this also is adding to that, right? So we did see that there was a coordinated attack to basically create a ton of FUD over the past week that created a sell-off, and a lot of whales sold at a high to shake out a lot of new investors, and it worked. And then they bought the dip. Next news is NFT volume has more than tripled even amid price crash, as meme.com raises $5 million. The NFT sector has seen exponential growth, tripling in transactions since January and pushing through the market crash this month. So despite the fact that everything is down, people are still investing in NFTs. The NFT space is continuing to grow, and we saw a big momentum shift where, Q1 NFTs were killing it. They were the right thing to invest in. And then Q2, meme coins kind of pushed all that out. NFTs we've seen have fallen quite a bit, but as Bitcoin stabilizes, I think we're going to see the second rise of what is going to happen with NFTs and green crypto, as well as DeFi making its triumphant gain. But very bullish news for all NFT players and those who are invested in NFT projects. Next news is Bitcoin tackles $40,000 as Biden unveils new $6 trillion federal spending budget. So why does this matter? Biden had earlier proposed significant tax hikes on America's richest companies and individuals to fund his massive spending program, but it would take the government at least until 2030 to shrink its budget deficits, the Times reported. That means the United States would have to face a monumental debt burden as it borrows money to finance Biden's record proposal. So that basically means, folks, that the US dollar is still in trouble. Anthony Pomp has definitely covered this quite a bit. We can see that US dollar keeps going down as US will inevitably go into further debt in the future. It is a bullish case for Bitcoin, a deflationary currency. Next news is Gamestop. NFT website revealed, powered by Ethereum. So we saw GameStop basically get bailed out, saved by the entire movement around the Wall Street bets, short squeezes that happened in the stock market. It was crazy. But this is big because a lot of the Wall Street bets crew have now become investors, and they are definitely big into momentum plays. I feel like a lot of them actually are responsible for what we saw in the meme community and a lot of the newer investors coming in as of March who have now been shook out. But this is big for the NFT space as a whole, having one of the largest video game purveyors in the entire world hop into the space, especially what we're going to be seeing in NFT gaming, crypto this cycle as well as the next cycle. Next piece of news is Ray Dalio saying, "I'd rather Bitcoin over bonds." Billionaire and extremely well-known and respected hedge fund manager Ray Dalio says Bitcoin over bonds is a big deal. Ray Dalio is very much well respected by a lot of the older investors in the space, and this is where we're starting to see the turn of the page, right? Like, we know Cathie Wood and Michael Saylor and a bunch of outspoken Bitcoin maxis have been doing so for a while, but a lot of the older financial institutions and the older investors haven't supported it. And so Ray Dalio actually finally revealing that he has Bitcoin, and who has been outspoken about bonds for a long time, says the more we create savings in Bitcoin, the more you might say, I'd rather have Bitcoin than the bond. Personally, I'd rather have Bitcoin than a bond. Bond markets have been definitely affecting the price of stocks lately, and bonds historically have been well known as one of the safest, well, not substantially gaining, but safest places to place your money over a long period of time. However, Ray Dalio says now different with Bitcoin. Next piece of news is Ark Invest. Cathie Wood, if you're not familiar with Cathie Wood, she was an early investor, spoke to the world early about how big Tesla is going to be. They've called multiple high growth stocks that have come to fruition and are very aggressive about getting into a space 5-10 years out and watching how it changes the world. So Ark Invest buys another $20 million of Bitcoin on May 24th. This article came out, as well as I saw another article that said they invested in Ethereum. So happy to see, again, larger investors continuing to buy the dip. Wisdom Tree files Ethereum ETF application as Bitcoin bids await SEC decision. So we already know that there are several Bitcoin ETFs that are submitted and waiting to see if we'll get approval. This has happened in the past and they've been denied, but we are very much hopeful, and many are saying if these ETFs come through, that is going to be what's going to basically be all the validation needed to create a super cycle this cycle, and would for sure be a lot of upside for Bitcoin. But this jumped out because we're starting to see now Ethereum ETFs gaining momentum, and that is again bullish for altcoins as a whole, especially leading up to Ethereum 2.0 by the end of this year. I think this is a very smart move. The ETF specialist firm, which already has a Bitcoin ETF before the US regulators, becomes the second US fund shop to also VIE for an Ether product after VanEck, of course. Next piece of news is Wells Fargo Investment Institute to onboard crypto clients by next month. Again, all of this news is really high adoption news. This is all extremely bullish, but I don't feel like it's getting much attention in the news, the actual news on TV. And I feel like that's probably because all of these larger investors want to try and scoop up as much as possible, right? Like they want to keep it down, but all of this is very big for further adoption from financial institutions. But Wells Fargo Investment Institute announced that it will soon open an investment product for its wealthy clients with President Darren Cronk declaring the firm stance that the cryptocurrency space has finally come of age. They chose to do this now. So validation from Wells Fargo, who has in the past not really said anything if they're Bitcoin pro or Bitcoin negative. I think this is a step in the right direction, and I believe we'll start seeing a lot of the more conservative banks to follow this as well. Fingers crossed for JP Morgan coming soon. And the last piece of news is Vitalik coming out and saying why Elon Musk's plan for scaling crypto 10x is fundamentally flawed. We all know who Vitalik Buterin is, the founder of Ethereum and an absolute freaking genius. And we also know who Elon Musk is. Tesla, SpaceX, brilliant man who has now found a voice in the crypto space, unfortunately, and can credit to what started at least this initial dip when he came out and said Tesla will no longer accept Bitcoin because it is a dirty cryptocurrency and are looking for more of green crypto options, which we all saw then was basically a plug for Doge, who he's been an outspoken influencer of. And he then came out and said, ideally, Doge speeds up block time 10x, increasing block size 10x, and drops fee 100x. Then it wins hands down. Vitalik challenged Musk's proposition, emphasizing the challenge of seeking to achieve a sharp increase in scalability and throughput without leading to extreme centralization and compromising the fundamental properties that make a blockchain what it is. Buterin stressed the need for decentralization to eliminate the risk of network. And basically, to summarize all this up, is Doge is inflationary. It has an infinite supply. And Elon is very new to the space, and while he is brilliant, he is still very much intellectually about crypto, a minnow among whales. So him just coming on and say, oh, let's increase the block size and just drop the fees and the block time 10x is very, I don't want to say ignorant, just misinformed, but makes him not look necessarily educated in this market. I mean, if it was as easy to just increase the block size, then Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV would be the number one cryptos, right? That hasn't happened. But then Vitalik also comes on and says, for a blockchain to be decentralized, it's crucially important for regular users to be able to run a node and to have a culture where running nodes is a common activity. This is the point of Ethereum 2.0, right? Ethereum is going to a true deflationary model with Ethereum 2.0. We've seen the reason why it's taken so long is sharding. As we know, Ethereum is currently proof of work, but Ethereum 2.0 will then move to a proof of stake, which has taken a long time. So for Vitalik to come out and say, listen, man, it's not that simple. He's helping educate Elon that you can't just come out and say these things and you just make it happen overnight. It's going to be a process and it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money. And what does the Doge Master respond to Vitalik with? With a meme, of course, which I think this is hilarious. However, again, Elon, you got put in your place from Vitalik. And not to hate on Doge at all, I have some Doge, but again, this just kind of shows what's happening in the space when someone who just doesn't know what they're doing yet hops in and becomes an outspoken influencer on the market. So that is what I wanted to share. These are the highlights from what I've seen in the recent crypto news this week. I will be doing these weekly. But again, I will be releasing this video actually on Sunday, even though it's Friday right now, because I will be out of the state for roughly a week looking at investment properties in Oregon and in Idaho. Let me know your thoughts on if you like this content, if this is helpful for you to actually see what is the important news that happened this week, because I think it's important for you as a crypto investor to constantly know what is happening with more adoption, what is happening with other projects than you might not be invested and know about yet, and what indicators might help with momentum shifts, whether it's bullish or bearish. As always, if you found value in my content, please like the video, please subscribe to my channel, and click the notification bell for future content. And if you're wondering what is on this piece of paper, because this is news, right? It's a cat. I just thought it looked more newsy. Well, that's it for this week in crypto. My name is Taps. Thank you for your time and happy trading.